hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Come in, and let's talk about some wrestling again today. Obviously, we are just past AEW Double or Nothing, so this week it is all going to be based on reacting to this pay-per-view. As you know, WrestleMash is one of the parts of the mega pillars that make the Midweek Mashed Tattie Sportscast. Social media, have a look if he's like, it's up to you guys. But don't forget to leave a
5 stars, baby! Boom!
Thanks, son. Well, lads, now that all that shite's out the road, how about... In fact, well, fuck, lads, how are we doing? Moreover, how are we getting on? Because that was a session staying up to watch that. It was a long pay-per-view into the night, and we made it, but I know I'm still tired. How are you doing?
I'm just about back to normal now. Yesterday was a write-off.
You got the choice to write off yesterday. Oh, I wish.
Just barely.
Just barely. Harvey, what about yourself, pal? It wasn't so bad for you. You're obviously in roughly the same time zone over there in the Caymans.
Aye. I was only up till, well, I think the pay-per-view finished about 12 o'clock for me.
Aye, so I would just be some midnight for you, really. Aye, so you,
aye, but
you
midnight for me, aye. But aye, it wasn't so bad for me.
Nah, not like me who slept for an hour and 40 minutes, I think, before still making my work on time. First thing in the morning. Black coffee, by the way, for anybody listening, has a fucking magical power. Black unsweetened coffee is better than any energy drink I know in the world. It is. It's got a magical power. That's all I've got to say, really. I even managed CrossFit. So I did. Yesterday after 2 hours sleep effectively and work.
I can assure you I could know I done that.
I don't know how I did it, man.
To be fair, I could have had 12 hours sleep and I don't know if I'd make it through a CrossFit session these days, so... Let's be honest.
That could be alright.
Fair play for being honest, at least, mate. I mean, I wouldn't say I made it through it. I turned up. I was there. I wore shorts. But that's about it. So...
Did you sweat?
Oh, mate, I sweat walking into the place, man. Never mind doing the actual exercises. I'm sweating thinking about it.
If somebody says a word that even sounds like a burpee, he's in sweats.
Somebody comes and says, I'll just snatch your tape off you, Paul. I hear the word snatch and I'm like, oh no, CrossFit. Can't deal with it. Shite joke. But anyway, will we start this week, I think, with blathering about the kind of Double or Nothing sort of news that seemed to set the world alight if you're a wrestling fan.
It is the elephant in the room, effectively.
It is one big Burberry-coloured elephant and a half that thinks it's better than other elephants. Can't even say it right. And it knows it.
Elephants.
Elephant. I went off French there.
Elephant.
L'elephant. But MJF, lads, so... It kind of broke through the weekend, I think, just for a wee while back, right? It broke through the weekend that he had no-showed a fan meet and greet that he had been set up to appear at for the company and was avoiding phone calls. It then seemed to go a bit wild in the rumour mill that he was planning to no-show the pay-per-view and his match against Wardlow. AEW at one point went as far as removing all of the kind of hype packages from their YouTube and social media platforms, as if to suggest that this match was in fact done. There was a crazy rumour at one point that Bill Goldberg was free.
Yep.
for Wardlow to have a match with. But it would cost. Of course it would cost. It's fucking Goldberg. But it then hit the... I think it was maybe 20 minutes before the pay-per-view, and finally... Meltzer, I think, Dave Meltzer of Wrestling Observer tweeted that he was, MJF I'm talking about, MJF was at the building and he was going to be doing his match, and it had been speculated that it was probably going to be the opener. And right enough, lads, when we got onto the main pay-per-view after the buy-in, right enough, there hit that kind of crappy music. And I don't know if this, I mean, there's conflicting reports whether this was accidental or deliberate, but the music hits for MJF, and he takes just that wee minute extra to come out.
Yeah.
Of course, the crowd by this stage are unglued with the boos. Like, the booing just reaches a crescendo, and out he walks with the most grumpy, fed up looking face on I have ever seen. He had the grumpy on, lads, didn't he?
Yep.
Aye, he was.
He looked like he really didn't want to be there.
He couldn't have looked any less interested.
By the way, that the no-show at the fans meet and greet.
Yep.
It's rumoured that some fans were actually paying $100
I said it would have to have been refunded
Per
for
pit.
that as well. Like, but $100.
to go and
That's shocking. Like,
to meet and greet with him. So, that's terrible, man.
it's a poor show.
At first, I was like, something's went on, and then now they're trying to make it into a work and this and that. But when I've seen their reports, I'm like, don't actually think it was.
It's a bit of a dick move, lads. It's obviously we've just did the incident with Sasha Banks and Naomi, and people are kind of coming out saying, well, it was fine for WWE to bench somebody for this. What are AEW going to do? But I genuinely don't think these situations are anything alike.
No.
This is a massive difference.
I think it's worth a quick explainer that MJF's sort of situation and what's led to this is that he's very unhappy with the pay he's getting. So effectively, he's on a longer term deal. When did he sign? 2 years ago? 3 years ago?
So when the company started to be on TV in end of 2019, I think he signed a deal.
Okay.
It's
So
going to
like
run
a 5 year deal then.
Basically, it's going to run until the 1st of January 2024. So that is when he can leave effectively.
Okay.
If he so chooses to.
So MJF is arguing that in his time so far with AEW, his star has rose. He's now, in his mind, the biggest star in the company, and he should be paid as such. And to add to that, AEW signed new talent, some of which is big stars from other companies, primarily WWE, in their own higher paid contracts than what MJF is. MJF's still been on his same sort of, not quite developmental contract, but more kind of indie talent coming in rather than big name, because he's effectively made his name in AEW. So he's arguing that he should be paid top dollar in the company. And it went as far as Tony Khan agreeing that, okay, you're a big star and you should get more money. Let's sit down and we'll go through the details and we'll do a new contract. MJF has then pushed back in this and said, no, I just want money upped. I'm staying on the same contract. I still want my deal to expire in 2024. As it is, I just want paid what I should be paid. So Tony Khan's happy to pay him what he's worth, but he wants him to stick around for long enough so that he can reap the rewards.
Commit to his employer effectively. Aye. So
that's
I think
part of business.
I think both sides it's fair enough. MJF wants paid what he's worth. I'm all for that.
I mean, that side I agree with as well. Certainly.
Anybody in any line of work, if you're not getting paid what you're worth, you should speak up and you should do whatever you can to make sure you get paid your worth. Know your worth. Knowing your worth is a big, big thing in any industry. However, he has signed a contract. He knew what he was getting into when he signed the contract.
Absolutely.
He's done really well to make a name for himself the way he has, but nevertheless, he's still tied into this contract to 2024. And for him to be going on the way he is and starting to no-show events, that doesn't do him any favours.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't do him any favours, really.
It doesn't do him any favours in AEW. Doesn't do him any favours in the eyes of WWE, who he's been rumoured to say that he's threatened to say that, I'll just go to WWE in 2024 anyway.
Yeah.
It's like, come on now.
He's
a smart business
a
person
reputation for himself.
will look at that and say, Well,
From
look
the
what he's
outside
doing
looking
over
in, it
there.
looks terrible. Aye.
He's trying to hold them to ransom. Why would I then hire him?
Yep.
And then when he starts to get a little bit of name for himself in this company, he's going to try and hold me to ransom.
I mean,
Doesn't
of
make
all,
any sense
of
for me
all
to take
people
him.
as well, Harvey, when you consider it, Vince McMahon, who does not want anybody
Exactly.
but good soldiers.
Yeah.
Like,
Aye.
this is the guy who
Exactly.
went on telly when they bought WCW to tell Jeff Jarrett that he was fired on air without meeting him because Jeff Jarrett had previously tried to pull this, I'm no showing unless you give me 500 grand for this
Yep.
match. Like, he is no getting in for that fucking squirrely shit. Like,
No, he's not.
that's very not Vince McMahon's type of personality. He wants good soldiers who, even if they disagree, toe the line, and this isn't toeing the line. Like,
No, it's definitely not. Can I just ask you a question?
aye.
And I want it to be a quick answer.
Okay,
Quick
okay.
snap answer. Right? Within 5 seconds.
I'm for a black coffee.
When I
It's coming
say-
at me in no time.
When I say AEW, what do you think of?
CM Punk.
Michael?
CM Punk, Chris Jericho.
Aye.
I'd say
Okay.
they're the two names.
So
that
right
come
there,
straight to me.
if you're not answering MGF, well, is he
does-
actually that big?
He doesn't get to
Aye.
go like that. Aye.
He's
I get what
up
you're
there.
saying.
He's up there for me, but
Aye.
I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of the opinion that nobody in that company is in a position where they can carry on like that.
No.
No, even CM Punk. You know what I mean? Know your worth, as I say, but you can't go in like a child.
No,
You know what I mean?
absolutely no.
It's
Absolutely.
business at the end of the day. It's
Very
very
true.
short-sighted
I mean-
the MGF to go in the way he has.
Very, very true. Lads, I think we've had a good wee discussion about it there. And I think we're on agreement, really. Dick move. Yes, you're a good wrestler, but dick move. Will we talk about this pay-per-view, lads?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Right, so I have got a plan. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this like a peer review at work, right? We're gonna have a wee like sandwich. So we're gonna talk about one thing we all like. We're gonna talk about one thing we didn't like. And then we're gonna go back for another thing we liked.
Okay.
Okay, so a wee like sandwich is like a yearly peer review in your work, telling you how you're doing and all that. So we'll do that first, and then we'll maybe discuss where they go after this. What we think they might do
Okay.
post Double or Nothing. So Hulk Harvey, brother. It's the first time I've done an
Yeah,
episode, man. I'm
brother.
going to get it in. I was itching there. Not.
Yeah.
What do you think, mate? First thing for you, what did you really enjoy about this show, man?
I mean, there's a few things, but I really enjoyed. I think I'm going to steal an answer for somebody here, but I really enjoyed Hardy Boys and the Bucks.
I've still mixed,
Like that, you
mixed
know,
in the nods.
No, you're not quite stole my answer,
Not
but
quite
it's
stole.
up there for me. It's up there.
Aye.
It was tremendous, wasn't it? I've got to say.
It's
I
everything you
liked
could
the
want it
match.
to be.
Aye, I mean the legends, and then the Bucks who have looked up to these guys. You know, that's their heroes. Getting to wrestle with them, and then just put on an amazing show. I mean, it was brilliant, and they really did do a great job as well.
They did.
in that match.
I would agree.
Aye.
Mate. The crowd loved it for one.
Yep.
The Young Bucks always turn up for these pay-per-views. Like, if a Young Bucks match is on a pay-per-view, you know it's going to be fantastic.
Aye.
They didn't disappoint as always, and they worked around what who are now two limited wrestlers and what they can do. Just due to age and due to long-term
Aye.
physical fatigue on their bodies, but they made the Hardys look phenomenal. So they did, and the Hardys did their part as well.
It's honestly, in my opinion, the best match the Hardys have had in a long time.
I absolutely agree, Mick. Absolutely agree. It was a lot of fun, wasn't it?
I really enjoyed it. I did. As I seemingly always say, I wish there was more build up more story going into it, more of a reason for having the match. But because I'm aware of the Bucks' sort of personal feelings towards the Hardys, how much they looked up to them, like there's just enough there for me that I get why they would want to have the match. But from maybe a fan that's a big fan of the Hardys, so they've started watching AEW because the Hardys are paired up again, and they don't really know anything about the Bucks, it would probably have been good on that side to get more of it on TV.
It's probably a good gateway for like a more casual fan because of the Hardy name, and if you're coming for the WWE side where you're very anti AEW, you get to see another tag team that for one reason or another don't seem to get the respect for a certain section of wrestling fans that they really, really deserve. Like it's thanks to the Bucks that tag team wrestling is a big deal in AEW.
Yep.
Like they absolutely deserve the flowers. I think the only thing for me was worrying about Jeff Hardy during the match.
Yep.
And did you notice now that the 5-on-5 match that was set for Dynamite of the Hardys, Christian and Jurassic Express against the Undisputed Elite it's now been taken down to a 4-on-4. So Adam Cole and Jeff Hardy are out of the match.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah, Jeff Hardy apparently was carrying a lot of knocks from the Darby Allin match. Unsurprisingly, when you think about it.
I was going to say, doesn't
really,
surprise me.
Really not surprising, but he did look a bit dinged up at one point in the match, like he did.
Yep.
And it just shows you what a pro. Like, there was definitely an audible call within the match, but it didn't seem to affect the flow of the match greatly. Like
no, if anything, it added drama to the match.
It did seem to, like, didn't it? Like folk were really. I mean, I know the three of us watching. Over bloody Discord. Well, it was Discord we used. I was going to say Zoom, but the three of us watching it were all the more interested in it, like because of it. So it was class, like. Michael, Macho Mick, the workhorse. Tell us, what did you like, man? One thing you liked.
Okay. I think for me, I've got to go with the main event, which might surprise you.
So you've stole one for me. Really? Tell us why, though. Tell us why, mate. I will readjust. Don't worry.
I liked it a lot because I had a lot of sort of concern with how they were working that storyline. I didn't like what they were doing with Hangman. I still don't, looking back. But they brought everything together. They tied a pretty bow in it. And Punk walked away champion in a sort of very fitting way for the story that they told. So I felt like I love the destination. You know what I mean? I love it's going back to that.
I mean, you were saying like the bumpy road to get to a good destination.
I'm really happy with where we got to. I don't like how we got there, but it was a really good match, and I'm perfectly happy with where we ended up. So for that, there was a sense of relief and a sense of enjoyment.
I think the story that they told in the match of the feud was actually better than the story they were trying to tell. Like it was more clear in the match than it was in the build-up.
Yep.
Like you got it that Hangman was that threatened by Punk that he was at the stage where he was potentially going to go to nefarious ways, and at he's contemplating, he's holding the belt, he's fucking psyching himself up for it. Really battling with himself, and then he remembers, no, I'm a good man, and it's what costs him, because that wee bit of hesitation. And I love the visual of it as well, where Punk is battered and he's got the hands up protecting himself, and he's not even really protecting him, but they're up just in resignation almost. So he has Punk just about beat, but he fucks it by going too far. Like,
yeah.
Like you're saying, Mac, it was the end of the story was far better than the start of the story. And for that I totally agree, mate. Harvey, what do you think, man? Wasn't it? Same as us, really. Much enjoyment.
Aye, it was. I loved it. Aye, it was fun. I just wondered when he was when CM Punk was. He kept fucking up the
buckshot.
The buckshot. Aye.
Do you know, actually, sidebar.
I think that was a what though, wasn't
No,
it?
no, it wasn't.
Oh, he fucked
No,
it. He
it
fucked
wasn't
it
it?
No.
accidentally. He was
See,
just
He
tired.
fucked it twice.
See if he's watched the media scrum on YouTube, Punk sat for a good sort of 15 minutes or so talking to the media with Tony Khan, and he was asked about that, and he says that previous to his match on Dynamite where he did it, he tried it in training, nailed it, and he thought, oh, ideal, I didn't think it would be that easy. Did it in Dynamite, it was a wee bit rough, but he made it. So he thought nothing of it going into the pay-per-view. And then he fucked it, and he thought, oh, that's no good, I'll need to try that again. And then he fucked it again. So he says that he's never going to do it again. He's learned his lesson.
They got away with it in story because Hangman had been working over his knee in the match. So it meant they had an excuse to say, oh, it's just fatigue and it's a sore knee that's missing it. But he absolutely, it's the fact that you could see a wee smile in his face when he got up and clotheslined him like, fuck that there.
Thinking back now, he did actually have that wee smile.
There was that other bit of accidental comedy where Hangman lifted him up and you go to see what was below the CM trunks.
The best bit of that was that when Punk get laid out, he just lay there smirking, playing deed, and let the referee try and fix it. He didn't break character.
His arse hanging out in his bloody shorts, man. Oh, it was fucking comical. It was comical. Oh, Jesus. Aye, totally agree. It was a tremendous main event. Great finish, and kudos to the crowd for still being with after a long pay-per-view. Like they were still reacting brilliantly, so they were. Absolutely brilliantly. Right, my one thing I really enjoyed, lads, would be the 3-on-3 House of Black versus Death Triangle match.
Cracking match.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, just 15 minutes of just absolute technical mastery, like for luchador wrestling. Like it was just an absolute treat.
Yep.
Even their bloody walkout was fucking brilliant.
I mean, the entrances for the pair of them, man. Like, I know, man. The House of Black are the fucking coolest thing in wrestling. They honestly are.
Honestly, aye.
It's a shame
about them.
It's a real shame that Ray Phoenix got injured when he did, because if they had put that match off a couple of months ago, when the story would have led straight into it,
exactly,
that would have been the perfect send-off for that storyline.
It would have been.
Oh, wouldn't it?
Injury just kind of dragged the story longer than it had to. Like it did the story damage.
Yep.
But I'm glad we got this though. I'm glad that
I
this is
definitely want to change it for the sake of that match.
And obviously you get Julia Hart finally doing the heel turn to join the House of Black, which again, right call. It's a wee bit late. They should have done it sooner.
I think,
but
again,
it's the right call.
That's due to the injury. I think that they've pushed the full thing back.
Everything's been stretched. Everything's been stretched much longer. But I mean, the match itself was fucking phenomenal. It really was phenomenal. The amount of amazing spots in it, like unreal, man. And the visual look of both teams, like the House of Black's face paint and that, like their ring gear, it's just, they look so good. They are the one team that means, it makes me desperate for trios belts, lads. Like above all else, like that's what it does for me.
Without the House of Black, and I would put Blackpool Combat Club in there as well now, because they've formed a really good team. Without the two teams, I would be up for trios belts, but they would be like a wee bonus. You know what I mean? A wee bit of dessert. They would be secondary to everything else. But with the two teams there, that's enough to say that you can have a solid division, because you can, just with the two teams alone, you can get 3, 4, 5 great matches if they space them out and tell the story right. You can get some fantastic matches out of them, so you know that you can get a year. You can fill everything else round about it. You can easily get a year out of they two. So then all you need to do is have another 1 or 2 solid teams to sort of fight underneath for a title shot, and hey presto, you've got a division.
Definitely, man, definitely. Totally would love to see that. So I would. Absolutely. Right, on to the more negative sort of section of the show here. So one thing we really didn't like about this pay-per-view. So, back round to you, Hulk Harvey, brother. What is one thing you did not enjoy about AEW Double or Nothing 2022? One thing you didn't quite enjoy.
I'm not sure whether I'm more disappointed in the fact that Thunder Rosa beat Serena Deeb, or Samoa Joe losing to well, not so much losing, but the way he lost to Adam Cole.
Right. So it was a bit too easy, too clean.
A bit too easy for me. Aye.
Aye.
I think Samoa Joe doesn't get down that easy.
Aye, it was all a bit simple, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, aye.
For sure. Like,
I get that.
Right, hold on. Pause.
Aye.
You've put two.
Which one?
Which one are you picking?
I'm just letting them roll on with Samoa Joe. Aye, I know. I thought he was going down the Samoa Joe route, so I was encouraging him softly there. Next called him out though.
We'll go to the Samoa Joe.
Right, so we're going to Samoa Joe. We're going to Samoa Joe. Okay. Right, there you go. Podcast Paulus on the job. So continue,
I know you've got to protect. Adam Cole's finish, right? But nobody really kicks out of that, do they?
No, the boom. Once the keypad doing the boom is
nobody kicks out of it, right?
Game over, aye.
The thing is,
I mean,
it doesn't need
Samoa Joe. Aye, well that.
You know what I mean? You can protect the finisher without having Joe get pinned by it.
Aye. Well, aye.
Do you know what I mean? I just think it was all too easy for me. I would like it to be a bit harder.
The Owen Hart fight.
I get why they've made Adam Cole win. Do you know what I mean? But
aye,
make it a little harder for him.
He's a big star. He has more tenure than Samoa Joe, I suppose, is the answer there. But to continue on your point, and probably to cheat my own system here a wee tad, I think both winners of the Owen Hart tournament did not need this.
No.
They're stars in their own right, and big stars at that. They did not need to win either of these two.
I don't agree with at least half of the participants in the two tournaments.
The participants.
I think they did the two. I think they got it. I think they got it so wrong. The tournaments should have built up new stars.
Single stars, aye.
They should have took singles wrestlers that have been doing good, and they should have built them up through the tournament. The tournament gives them a built-in story to let them rise up through the card. And even if they're only going to go for their into TNT and TBS title pictures rather than be, top of the card,
top of
the better. You know what I mean?
I would probably say that criticism is valid, is that there were too many tag team wrestlers in it. However, one thing I will come back at you with is that I don't mind Kyle O'Reilly featuring more as a singles wrestler. I love Kyle O'Reilly's style as a wrestler, that kind of semi-shoot style, kind of strong style wrestler. Personally, I'm a massive fan. Whether that connects with everybody with Kyle O'Reilly, I don't know, but with me, certainly, I've got a lot of love for Kyle O'Reilly matches.
I do like his style, but I don't think... Two things. I don't think his finisher is suitable for a singles wrestler.
So
it's no strong enough, in my opinion. We were confused when the match ended because we didn't think that was going to be the finish.
I was shocked.
With his match with Darby. And also, I don't think, although he's no deeply tied into a story now because of the way things have played out with the tag titles, that Red Dragon's drifted away a wee bit, as has the Bucks. Just due to the circumstance of what else they were doing with the pay-per-view. For me, he's still totally entrenched in the Red Dragon tag team, but also in what the Undisputed Elite's doing. So it doesn't make sense for me for him to be in a singles match.
You're not
in a singles match with the pay-per-view. No, that. I don't mind him having match on Dark, Rampage, even Dynamite, if there's some story to it. There's no reason for him having a singles match on the pay-per-view.
It was chucked in there as an extra, definitely. I'm sure, if I remember correctly, they needed to try full time through kind of concerns about the Game 7 of, obviously,
Aye.
we're talking about
So,
all fair, the Boston Celtics, Miami
aye.
Heat.
Swinging back to the media scrum, Tony Khan spoke extensively about that.
Aye, about trying to kind of avoid
in a
classic
way,
weight.
in a way that only he can. He was going on about the percentages and how he was watching this, and up to this day there was I think it was a 28.7% chance that there would be a Game 7, and then after this day it was a 70%. It was going on and on, and it's just like Tony, nobody else understands what you're saying.
His mathematics crazy, like it's all analytics with the wee
Basically what he had figured was that the game would finish by a certain point, so he needed to have a filler match that would be worthwhile and really enjoyable for the audience in attendance and those that were sticking with the pay-per-view, without being something that would tire them out for what was still to come.
Aye, so
he just wanted a really solid sort of 10-minute match.
And that's what it was. Give you, despite maybe the booking, like Darby kind of going under a wee bit, like which, whether that's right or wrong, I kind of get where you're coming from. But before we drift out into the weeds here, Harvey, it's a good point, and I agree with that. As far as the wee dislike there, Michael Allen, my man, what do you think in Workhorse Macho?
Well, I was going to dig into the tournaments. That was mine. I was going to go.
All right, so I'll step back out.
No, I can. I can probably come up with something else if I'm
sure you've got you more for it.
But I know I totally don't agree with the winners. As I say, I don't agree with more than half the participants. I definitely don't agree with the winners. I don't agree with how they won either. I don't think for both of them. I'm trying to remember, but Britt Baker and Ruby Soho, it was a pretty good match. It was a really well structured match. It was good, but again, wrong choice. With the Adam Cole Samoa Joe one, with the two wrestlers, I think Adam Cole's the right choice to win. I just don't think how he won was right.
Aye.
But I don't think that Samoa Joe or Ruby Soho should have been in the matches. I'm happy enough with Adam Cole and Britt Baker being in them, but I think new stars should have been going over, even if that meant that there was interference or something happening in both matches. I'm okay with that, as long as they're putting over a sort of younger talent that can keep things interesting in the sort of mid card, like with TNT and the TBS. I'm trying to think if there was anything else. We already spoke about it. The Darby Allin and Kyle O'Reilly match. As I say, I don't think it should have been on the pay-per-view at a push. There was just about enough story there for the buy-in. You could have did a too-match buy-in. No bother.
Yeah.
You would have had a really good, fun, solid 10-minute match that would have really hyped you up for the pay-per-view, and you could have done the Hookhausen carry on to open the sort of buy-in matches, because it's really fun. You have a laugh with it.
Just a kind of comedy, entertainment match, sports entertainment style match. I was surprised in the way they did the buy-in. Like, I remember with Full Gear, the buy-in was obviously, it was like a 2-match buy-in, and it was phenomenal. That was House of Black in that buy-in, if I remember correctly. Like, and it was again, it was another belter of a 6-man. Like,
yep.
So it's funny the way they did the buy-ins. It is really funny. For me, lads, thing I didn't like, right? This one's harsh, probably. Okay. But I've got to say it. The finish of the tag match, I don't agree with the winners of the tag team match. The Jurassic Express winning and Swerve Strickland being pinned. I think last night was a good opportunity to launch a new tag team into the main kind of into kind of upper card, and I think Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland, either great singles wrestlers, but Jesus Christ, what a good tag team they are. How entertaining are they? And I remember when I was watching with these lads, the minute that they had their team finisher, the kind of spirit bomb into the stomp, and I went, oh, surely fuck. And then Hobbs comes in, and I went for a drink. I was like, oh, fuck off, and just walked away off camera with you guys. But I'm done. And away I went to get a drink. Like, it totally and utter. And I get why kind of Jurassic Express win because they are a team that's been a day one team in AEW. Fair enough.
Yep.
These are two hodgepodge kind of put together teams, but I just feel like the Jurassic Express were directionless going into this.
Right? You say that, but really, does longevity, does that outweigh what Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland could go on to achieve them being there for a long time? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly, mate.
Like, if you weigh it up, like, you can do a lot more with Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland than Jurassic Express.
It's definitely something you're noticing with Tony Khan is that he does have his favourites that he likes to make sure are in the conversation every pay-per-view. Like Jungle Boy, he's a clearly big fan of Jungle Boy, just like he's a very big fan of Sammy Guevara and the Bucks and Britt Baker. Like, they always come off very well, like all the time, for better or for worse.
Not to go to the well one too many times, but again, media scrum, Tony Khan was talking about how he likes to structure things, because he was asked about that among other things.
Right.
And he spoke about how he's got this kind of philosophy on it and how he likes to make sure that his AW originals are getting some love and they're he's not hurting them with the booking. He likes to make sure that he's always making new stars and something else that I forget. There was like a 3-tier sort of structure to how he wants to build a card and book his storylines.
You can see that.
And it makes sense as he's explaining it. But
it does make sense. Like, I do understand that. You want to create stars that are going to be there for years to come. Like, like these are all guys in their mid-20s, girls in their mid-20s.
It was something to do with the audience, I believe. The third thing. But anyway, my sort of opinion on the situation, I don't think that 3-way was the right move. I think there's other tag teams that could have and should have been involved. However, with the cards that were dealt there and what they decided to do with Bucks and Hardys, my opinion on how it should have went, based on where we got to, is that I think they should have made Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland look really strong. I think they should have come off, which they pretty much did.
They did.
Other than the finish.
They did.
Other than the finish, they came off strong. But I think you should have really built them up, had them have a really good match. But I think ultimately you should have had a continuation of the sort of feud between Starks and Powerhouse and then Keith Lee and Swerve. You should have had a bit of a continuation there. And you should have also had a bit of a continuation with Starks and Jungle Boy. And I think ultimately Starks should have pinned Jungle Boy, and that should have furthered the heat between Jungle Boy and Christian.
So you would put it on Starks and Hobbs then, aye?
I would. Geese them the rub, right? Swerve and Keith Lee are a new team. They've got plenty of time. As I say, you make them look strong in the match so they continue to rise.
Aye.
And then what I would do for there is, within a reasonable amount of time, let's say within 6 weeks or so no too long a reign, I would have probably the Bucks beat Starks and Powerhouse, because you can have them beat them without having to go too hard into heels and faces. You know what I mean? They two teams can sort of toe the line. They can sort of dance sort of back and forth.
They can probably pull a
between
cracker,
them.
You know what I mean? And they would have a great match. And then that sets up at the next pay-per-view having FTR and the Bucks, with FTR winning and then having all the major belts.
That would be cool. Plus, that would be the third match between the two, so that would be like your
And
match,
it would be the crescendo.
Aye. That would be aye. I mean, why not? Like, aye. Especially, I mean, Starks is every bit of a rising star and a homegrown day one AEW guy.
Yep.
Same with Hobbs, same with Powerhouse Hobbs, definitely one you would call a homegrown star.
Absolutely.
For sure. So it would fit in. You're kind of going along Tony Khan's kind of line of thinking there in a lot of ways, and how you kind of think about that, which is it's absolutely fair enough. But I mean, like I said, it's harsh. My criticism there is harsh because it was a tremendous match. It was a really
good match. It was a lot of fun.
It's 6 wrestlers that are all fantastic. Keith Lee looked like an absolute superhero as usual. I've
Yep.
got so much love for the big man. He's
different. He's just something different in the best way.
see when he fires up as well, when he's got the angry face on when he's hitting
Aye.
other moves. They're not honestly
Yep.
nothing better than that big man going for it, man. And Hobbs as well, like fucking what a guy,
Aye.
what a future he's gonna have. Like
Yep.
what a future he's gonna have very shortly. So back round to the last round of the likes, lads, before we run out of time, because we always do. So Harvey, another thing you really enjoyed about it.
This one's probably got to be a bit left field,
Right, okay, mate. That's all
but
right.
it's for different reasons. It was nothing. It was not to do with, well, it kind of is to do with a match, but there was, for this point, there was no wrestling involved.
Right.
But it's a confirmation of Athena in AEW.
Aye, so Athena obviously is now, formerly Ember Moon, is now an AEW talent. Good
I like
sign.
that they've it's a good signing. It's good that the way they've done it, where she comes in and she's now a part of this faction, we'll say, with Statlander and Anna Jay against the baddies.
Aye.
And it beefens up that women's division as well. Brings more quality there. So I like it.
Puts a bit of a threat against the baddies as well, because it's all been a bit too easy and a bit too predictable with the baddies. Like, Jade's pretty
Aye.
dominant. She's also got support, so honestly, who's beating that? Now that you've got a big signing like Athena, and she's a phenomenal wrestler again, as she's proved in WWE, NXT, and on the Indies. You've got Statlander, who's roughly the same size as Jade, maybe not quite as jacked. I don't know if as many folk as jacked as Jade Cargill. Like, but it's a positive move. I mean, she's a goddess, man. She is. Every time I see that lassie walk out, I think, sweet Jesus. But criticisms are valid for how this kind of run's gone now, I would say. So this is a chance to now make a positive change and get a bit of excitement in that TBS picture. I could see that as a positive potentially. Absolutely. Mick?
I've got a more negative take on it, if I'm being honest. I'm sure he's always shocked.
Right. Come on then, get out.
For me, it reinforces Jade as champ for a wee bit longer, because you're no having Athena come straight in and win the title. No chance
Probably
that's
not.
happening.
No.
It's no in Tony Khan's playbook to do that. So it means we're guaranteed a variation of singles matches and tag matches and trios matches over the next few weeks until they kind of decide what direction they're going with the story. I would say one good thing out it is that Anna Jay and Stat are guaranteed a bit more sort of prime time, whether it's Dynamite or Rampage, because they're going to be featured. This is going to be the storyline. We now know that this is what we're working with for the next 6 to 10 weeks. I don't know how. You might just run it up to Forbidden Door, but there might be too much going on, because obviously you've got New Japan featuring as well, so it might even
I'd imagine it's through the next cycle.
very possibly run it past that.
All out, I would imagine you'll see the end.
It possibly could go as far as that. For me, they need to get the belt off of Jade Cargill as quick as possible. I'm completely done and by with her, but they've no set up the person that's going to take the belt off her. We need to go through a whole new cycle of storytelling before we get there, and that I'm not particularly happy with.
But they didn't really set anybody up to take it off though already.
That's the problem.
Up until this.
Aye,
So this is what I'm saying. So you're saying that it's a negative because it's got to drag on longer, but the positive side is at least we know now that it will change.
Aye.
Whereas before we were like, is it going to change? How is it going to change?
I'm not convinced that it will, though, to be honest with you. We'll see how the story plays out, you know what I mean? Give them the benefit of the doubt.
Aye, that's all you can do.
I get what you're saying now.
But I am not I'll tell you for why I'm not convinced, right? For me, the obvious choice out of the three, and Statlander, Anna Jay and Athena, the obvious choice is, to me, is Stat. Right? She's big enough, she's strong enough, she's face enough. Right? She's the one out of the three. Athena's too new, Anna Jay's too wee, right? It's easy maths.
Original as well, I think.
And Stat's the original. She's the homegrown talent. So it's easy maths. However, again going back to
In the
bloody
face of-
again going back to the bloody media scrum, right? Tony Khan admitted with a smile on his face that Stat was a happy accident. She was an afterthought. The only reason she was featured in that pay-per-view was because of her strong performance when she came into the Owen Hart tournament.
Aye.
And bringing her into the Owen Hart tournament wasn't an angle that he'd been working on. You know what I mean? There was the situation, for better or for worse, there was the situation with Shida, and he decided Stat was the person to step in. He was impressed with the match that Stat had with Velvet. He was then impressed with the match that Stat had with Ruby Soho. So he decided to include her and feature her on this angle on the pay-per-view.
Aye. And aye, fair enough, that's maybe no perfectly what you want to hear, but it's got potential now to change for the better, Mick. Like, he's
Possibly
a happy accident means he's maybe now rethinking that long-term direction, which
maybe she's done enough that she's now going to be the feature of that storyline to build her up, but it worries me. So we'll see what happens.
Well, stop your worrying. Tell me another thing you enjoyed, my man. Let's hear
Right,
it.
okay.
And don't you worry
Still got to
about
worry.
Don't you worry about Star.
He's got to worry about something else.
Tell us another thing you enjoyed, my man. What else did you really enjoy?
Oh, it's enjoyed, sorry. No,
Aye,
didn't
still
like.
likes
I know. We're stealing them off here. Don't you worry.
I hope I'm not stealing one for you, Paul, but I think I have to go with I don't even remember what the hell it was called. The arena, Anarchy in the Arena, Anarchy in the Arena. I've got probably more questions than answers with it, but at the same time, it was such an enjoyable match. It was really, really good, and just for harking back to discussions off air when we were watching it, the whole thing with the music was pre-planned. It was pre-planned. It was Chris Jericho's idea. Chris Jericho came up with it.
It's an influence of the Natural Born Killers, you call it? Is it New Jack's tag team where the music used to play?
It was Chris Jericho had seen New Jack's matches where they keep the music rolling, and he thought that it would be cool to feature that, but then he thought that it might be weird to have the music run all the way through. So it was actually bounced ideas off of Tony Khan. They went back and forth on it. So then Chris Jericho thought it would be good for him to be the curmudgeon that didn't like it and went and destroyed the soundboard to get the music off. Aye. I thought it was a really cool tidbit. I have to say,
it was a nice wee peek behind the curtain.
For anybody that's got any interest in what happens behind the curtain, watch the media scrums after the pay-per-views.
Oh, they're very good.
It's something that you just never get in WWE. They do everything they can to keep that stuff, and they do a terrible job at times, but they do everything they can to keep that stuff behind closed doors.
So it just leaks anyway.
But Tony Khan and co are happy to sit down with the media and speak about all this stuff, and they go into like just enough detail that you get all these wee tidbits of information that makes you enjoy it all the more.
Oh, it's fascinating. It definitely is. But certainly, as far as the match goes, Nick, it's a great call. It was just chaos, comedy chaos. Like the three of us on bloody call to one another. It was just laughter for about 10 solid minutes. The absolute batshitness of this match.
It was the most
I think the match lasted 22 minutes.
Aye, it was wild.
It was absolutely.
I was like, who was it that went in the elevator and we were like, we're going to wait in the elevator?
Oh, Daniel Garcia.
And then you never see.
Aye.
But then you never see them after. Like, you don't see what happened to them after that. Like, and then you see Eddie Kingston come back out. It's like, what the? Where did you go in this elevator? You went to get the petrol, I guess. I don't know.
He comes back, tries to light Jericho on fire. Fucking hell. Oh, it was just.
And that's when what's his name, stops him.
Danielson.
Then Mox steps in.
Aye, they start fighting. Then Moxley comes in and is like, "What the fuck?" And that was in the lead up to the finish, wasn't it?
That was it. That was because the loss for the Blackpool Combat Club and Kingston's gang was them having the disagreement that. And by the way, for feud's sake, this was actually well foreshadowed because you had Danielson and Kingston having a shoving match and throwing punches at one another prior to the pay-per-view, so it was kind of well told in the build-up, and it's 1-0 for sports entertainment so far, lads.
See, just for Easter eggs and tidbits, again, media scrum. Chris,
love your media scrum.
Chris Jericho spoke about the planning for the match, and he also went into the formation, the Chris Jericho Appreciation Society.
Yes.
And he spoke about how originally the plan was for the Eddie Kingston to go over in the match with him, like him, Jericho and Kingston, and then for Jericho to shake the hand and then to move on. And then they were talking about potentially having Mox team up with them, and then down the road the three of them team up, and they're this almost sort of shooter style trio. But then Danielson did his promo that he did, and that changed their plans. When Danielson did the promo about teaming up with Mox and training up younger guys, that set off light bulbs for Chris Jericho and Tony Khan.
Honestly, the man's a genius. I love Jericho.
Chris Jericho deliberately handpicked Garcia because he was mentioned in Danielson's promo, and because he was really impressed with what 2.0 were doing, and he didn't think it was right to take Garcia away for 2.0. So he decided that was the three to bring in to pair with him and him and
his ride or die. Big Jake.
Jake Hager.
Aye, Jake Hager. All I could think was Jack Swagger. I was trying really hard to no say Jack Swagger.
He's done it, Jack Swagger. He's done it twice now in AEW, where he has put together a group of people that if you looked at them as strangers, you would think, who the fuck are they? But it somehow works again. Like, it was the first episode of AEW Dynamite, which we should all totally watch one day just to see how different it was. But it was Santana, Ortiz, Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Jake Hager. And obviously, that's the inner circle you all know. But to begin with, you thought, what? It didn't make any sense. But of course it did, because it was Jericho that it was his brainchild. And he made it work perfect. Jericho Appreciation Society is so similar. He's done it again, for me.
Also, wee bonus tidbit.
Comedy heel faction again.
The mad outfits and the white and all that.
Oh fuck!
It was inspired by Garcia wearing the Congo hat thing. You know, that kind of slip back hat.
He's Andrew Glauberman for Big Mouth.
Jericho thought that was the best thing ever. He thought it was hilarious, the juxtaposition of this hardcore wrestler wearing the silly hat, and so he decided that they needed to have these daft outfits and the hats at the pay-per-view. It's just brilliant, man.
He's easily the most kind of interesting, if you break it down, member of that faction, Garcia, because he is your wrestler. He's your serious shooter, but yet he's calling himself a sports entertainer. I loved it. 2.0 are great. It was a perfect war of idealism. You've got your pro wrestlers. We're proud to be pro wrestlers. We're no embarrassed about it, and you're basically WWE wrestler faction, which is what they are. That's the kind of whole joke behind them. It was a lot of fun, man. It was just 20 minutes of fucking carry on, and it was great. Probably match of the night, lads. I think for me, just about.
No far off anyway.
It was stupid as fuck, but it was.
It was still brilliant though.
It was.
Such a throwback to late 90s, early 2000s, just wrestling carnage.
It's something that AEW do better than anybody. Is this Attitude Era zaniness. They just seem to get it.
You see everybody knocking crap at each other, and then the camera just pans and there's Moxley taking off the tongue,
destroying the ring.
Sitting there like. He's like, I'm taking this fucking rope off all the way. Everybody's out there scrapping, and he's just, hello.
I can't remember saying to you, like, do these cunts not realise there's another 2 matches going after them? What are you doing? It was just madness. Absolute madness.
I mean, one of the best performances of the night was that bloody table, though. You have to say.
Oh, aye. Man of the match. No man of the match. What would you call it? Man of the pay-per-view.
Oh,
The table at ringside that just wouldn't give up.
The New Japan Pro Wrestling table has made it through the forbidden door, hasn't it, man? Unbreakable tables.
I think Moxley was actually genuinely slipped it after it did the break, and the barbed wire just stuck to him, and he's like,
I'm in a lot of trouble here, lads. I'm in danger.
Upside down, like, ref,
help. We might help.
Who's got the wire cutters?
Jesus. Wire cutters for police. Oh, jeez. You know what? I'm not even bothered beginning another one. I like Mick. I'm quite happy sharing that one with you, mate. That was fun. Oh, just.
Do you know what else was hilarious?
Oh, right, go for it. I know.
Was after with MJF, after he was getting wheeled away, and they had the oxygen mask on his face.
My God, aye.
My eyes need air.
Shout out to the doctor that didn't understand that the oxygen mask needed to cover the nose and mouth.
He is the actual ringside doctor, by the way. He is not just an extra. That was the ringside doctor doing that.
I wonder if that was
He's in a nightmare.
I wonder if that was a receipt for MJF being an arsehole and no showing stuff. He just thought, I'm going to make you look like a clown here.
Oxygen, shut up your arse, you're getting air in your eyes. Burn, bitch. Oh dear. I mean, just to quickly skip over that, man, it was a decent squash and the right result, and Wardlow looks great. Just a shame it's overshadowed by the shit.
That is really a shame. Wardlow deserved better.
Aye.
He really did.
Thankfully,
100%.
in the arena you got all the love. And obviously you finally got the Wardlow is all elite graphic, which epic, man. I mean, that Tony Khan even posted that in his own like social media, like straight away the Wardlow is all elite.
Do you know what I would have loved? I would have loved if Tony Khan had came out after that and just walked in with an what do you call it? Not a notepad, but
a contract.
With a with a contract, but what's it on? The clipboard, clipboard,
There we go.
with a pen, and just like handed it to Wardlow, and then he just signed it. Boom. That would have been for
that would have put the cherry on top. Agreed, mate. Agreed.
Aye. Especially after everything that went on. Do you know? Pish. Anyway.
Right. So lads, before we go here, quick fire answers. Funnies. Okay. I want you guys to give me them. I'm not going to give my opinion. I just want to shoot the shit here and let's see what you guys come up with. So, without thinking about it too much, just give a quick answer. I just want the wrestler's name, right?
Okay.
First challenger for CM Punk, Harvey.
Oh fuck. Don't know.
Never heard him. Bacon.
That's a hard one.
As Mick.
You can't go back to bloody him, Adam Cole maybe.
Oh right, so you're giving Adam Cole a wee crack at it. Okay, Mick.
I bet he loses.
Oh, I has to lose. No, that's on Punk for a long time. Michael Allen, what about yourself, my man?
For me, either Mox or Danielson. It's an easy story to tell, and I just Punk retains, but it's an easy story to tell. Kill a few weeks, make it interesting.
I'm gonna go left field. Will Ospreay, Forbidden Door.
Well, if you want to put the title on the line, I'd kind of like to see Will Ospreay beat Punk though.
So would I, but no right now. No right now. And I think Will Ospreay is a big enough pro wrestling fan to realise that he does need to beat Punk to look incredible to a new audience of fans.
Aye.
To cement himself as one of the talents in the world to watch.
Yep.
I think that's your Forbidden Door main event. I've said it before. I'm going to continue saying it now that he's won. I think that's
at this stage I'd buy that. There's apparently talks happening, rumours. There's stuff going on to that effect.
I would love that. I would love that, man. I really would. It would also tie up with Punk's kind of bromance that he's got with FTR, with the United Empire wanting the Ring of Honor sort of stuff. So, I mean, there's your faction feud going into it, like. Because he's effectively stole FTR off MJF.
Aye.
Like he has, like they were out holding him aloft when he won the belt.
They've got t-shirts.
I didn't even go, Sons of Brett.
Aye. Sons of Brett with 3 of them on the t-shirt. Aye.
That's fucking ridiculous, man. It's fucking mental, man. Right. Future of the AEW women's title picture. Who's next for Thunder Rosa, and should they win against Thunder Rosa? Harvey, who would you like to see next? Who would you like to see next for Thunder Rosa? Because again, I didn't agree with this finish.
Okay, nice.
I wanted Serena Deeb.
I think it should have been Serena Deeb.
Could it still be?
That would have been a bloody easier. It could be, aye. That's the only logical thing in my head. Don't know. Anyway, aye, Serena Deeb.
Okay, mate. Mick,
I would do based on everything that's got us here. I would do Ruby Soho, but I would have Serena Deeb interfere and put 7 shades of shite out of Ruby Soho and stake her claim for a rematch, and then I'd have Deeb win the title in a rematch.
So make her more a heel, take away a
basically do it properly. Tell the story the way they should have told it.
Aye, make her more heelish. Because honestly, Serena Deeb came off more likeable in the build-up than fucking Thunder Rosa. Which is incredible. It's fucking incredible to me.
I've never in my puff experienced a babyface champion, male or female, telling the heel challenger that they should look in the mirror to find blame for any kind of discrimination. In this case, it is sexism and bigotry, among other things, that Serena Deeb faced in the WWE. And Thunder Rosa thought it was a good idea to cut a promo telling her that she should consider looking in the mirror because it might be her fault that she went through it. That is shocking.
I don't think I could find any more tone deaf.
Aye.
Especially when it comes to women's wrestling. Like, why is she cutting the heel promo as a babyface? It's just...
The heel thing was backwards. I can't say any more on it because it boils my blood.
I agree with you. And again, another really good match, finishing on me.
They had a phenomenal match. I had so much faith in them having a great match.
Really good match. Serena Deeb, man, honestly, she is a fucking magician. She makes anybody look incredible. It's just Serena Deeb.
And she's what Thunder Rosa needs, because Thunder Rosa's not a good enough face, and I say this with respect, she's not a good enough face to carry a match. She needs a really solid heel to make a match and the psychology of the match work. And if she has that, and the heel also happens to be a good in-ring worker, then the two of them will produce a really, really good match. And that's what happened. They just made an arse of the booking.
I just know the way I would book it. Thoughts going into this week's Dynamite. Do we see any shock surprises? This is the first show in California. Massive big sellout crowd, by the way.
I would like to see something coming. I'd like to see something left field, but I think it'll be pretty much run of the mill. Some stuff blowing back off the pay-per-view, setting up the next couple of months kind of thing.
I don't know when this podcast is coming out.
When is what is the actual lineups?
So you've got the 4-on-4 match is the only thing I've really spotted, to be honest, which is the Elite versus the kind of hodgepodge team of Christian, Matt, Hardy's.
I would like to see some NJPW presence.
I think you could see that, Mick. I think that maybe might be a left field shout right there, because it's the big California show. So I can imagine
it's time to work towards the thingy. The Forbidden Door pay-per-view. It's time to work towards
only a few weeks to go, so the build needs to start now, and I think you might see that. I also think that this is a prediction here. We may drop on Wednesday, we may drop on Thursday. Obviously, pay-per-view watching has killed our schedule this week because we're all fucking knackered. Especially Mick, who is the technical man who is responsible for a lot of that. So if this drops after Dynamite and I'm right, I'm the man. I think you'll see Hangman come to the ring and interrupt the CM Punk promo and shake his hand and leave. And that'll be the last to see Hangman for a wee while. He will now have a wee bit of time.
So no Hangman on Forbidden Door pay-per-view then?
Don't think so, mate. I think he's been working hard as the as the champion, as the face of the company, as the champion, he's just had that lovely young baby. He will be taking a wee couple of weeks off to enjoy it with the wife and the Wayne. I could totally see that.
Makes sense.
Aye, I mean, if you were asking me as a common sense guy with my love for kind of common sense booking with wrestling, that's what I would think he would get.
My gut tells
Goes out as a face.
my gut tells me that we don't see him at all. I don't think he appears, and we just don't see him for a while.
Possibly. I mean, we're not going to see MJF for a good while, but it looks it.
Aye.
If you believe the internet rumblings.
I wonder how that works, but aye.
Aye, God knows. I'm sure we'll know more about that by the time this podcast drops, and the news will make us look like fuckwits as always. The joys of recording one a week, lads. The news always hits us sore. Any final wee thoughts, lads, before we are done here? What would you give the pay-per-view, in fact? Out of 10. There you go. We'll end. Not for Harvey, but... but nah, general pay-per-view score out of 10. Where would you give it, lads? And then we'll go.
I'd be about an 8.
7.5.
Jump the gun.
Oh, sorry, lads.
Sorry.
So 7.5 for Harvey.
I'd be about an 8 out of 10, I think, for me.
An 8 out of 10 for... So, you still really enjoyed it. So
On the whole, matches were really good. There was just a few things let it down in terms of one match in particular that I think should be there, and then some sort of booking stuff. But on the whole, enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
Until the last two matches, which were the Anarchy Arena match and the Punk match, I would have gave it a 6. But because of the Anarchy in the Arena and the Punk match, I would probably also go towards 8 out of 10, lads. I think that'll be a big moment remembered in AEW history. CM Punk's first ever world title win.
Yep.
So, all round, good fun. Could have been better, obviously. But still very enjoyable. Well, lads, obviously, that is really all we've got time for. I've enjoyed catching up with you about it, lads, especially after letting it marinate for a couple of days to kind of collect our thoughts about it and get a bit of sleep in us. Oh, dear. Any random words before we go?
Extravaganza.
I had a happy childhood.
Extravaganza, and?
I had a happy childhood.
And you had a happy childhood.
My dad used to put me in tyres and roll me down the hills. They were good years.
They were good years, yes! And on that note, we end our podcast, ladies and gentlemen. As always, we are followed by the Mix and Mash, and hey, Combat Spuds is already dropped, so get it checked out. See you later, guys. Bye-bye, driver. I had something better to say there, but I totally fucked it. So we'll just go with bye. Bye!
Bye.
Bye.